Hello, this is the Awkward GM Corbin, and today we are going to be covering Scion Demigod again. Uh, Hopefully, you guys can hear me all right. I'll just adjust a little bit right there. Oh, I got a phone call just as I was coming on the stream. That's embarrassing. Okay, so last time we talked about Scion Demigod, I realized that Scion Demigod requires Scion Hero before you can become a demigod. So we created a hero character, and then hopefully I can just bring them up right here. Scion Hero Sheet Alex. Awesome. Can you guys see that? Yes, you guys can see it. Awesome. Thank you all for joining me this fine evening. I hope things are not as wet as it is over here. It is currently raining. Oh, just a quick rundown of what my character is in case you forget. Their name is Alexandra Black. She is. Oh man, I'm butchering words in here. Her character's parent is Anpu, which is the name for Anubis. Anubis is the Greek name. Anpu is the Egyptian one. They've got a few birthrights here for Jackal, Crane. Uh, Additionally, we've got there a judge, a sage, and a warrior, though they have more calling in judge than any of the other ones. We have a few knacks written down here. But we're going to be upgrading this character to a demigod, and I'll double check here. Oop, I'm opening too many apps. Don't want to run down the computer here, but I'm going to check here for if there's a demigod character sheet. The reason I'm searching for this is because in the Scion sheets that I got, they didn't have demigod. They only had hero ones. Now I did find one online that I'm going to convert this character to. If I was smart, I probably would have opened it up in the other app. I would have done the switch over earlier, but that's on me. Okay, we've got this here. I'm just gonna use this for additional knacks and stuff. As you can see, it seems like demigods get a lot more than your typical hero. Additional knacks, additional birthrights. I don't think any of this stuff we really need to touch. This is all carried over from the previous character sheet. So what I'll do is I'll just switch between the two as need be. Now, I did talk to one of the developers, and they said that for Scion, what you should do is when you go into Demigod, if you're planning to start at Demigod level, is to. Let's see here. Is to probably start at a higher level than you're expecting. I am not able to find the advice. It was basically you have to start with essentially, I think 100 XP. Demigod. I feel like I lost a lot of information on this. Okay, here we go. Move-in, assassins, dragon. I'll be doing dragon character creation. I'm thinking doing Scion Heroes next. Looks like Scion Demigod. There we go. So In the meantime, you throw 200 XP at them and increase them to Legend 5, you get a Demigod. So if I go down here to my original character, increase them to Legend 5, I only have Legend 4 right now, but if I go into this character sheet over here, I can put them at Legend 5. Oh, those are dots, that makes sense. So once we get to Legend 5, what can we purchase with our new Demigod powers? Now, this is assuming that I basically did some crazy leveling. What access do I get to? There must be some XP purchasable purchasable items that I can just grab here. Whoop. I am going to get demonetized, or Onyx Path is. There. Oh, I need to make sure that the channel. Yes, we're ready. Already on the Demigod session here. Apologize, I was not available last week. I was on a very relaxing vacation. Hopefully, I am rested and raring to go for all this, but we shall see. XP. Most of what Demigod gives you is the rules to make these is new abilities for your characters. So if I double, so we've got tier and target number. Gods are tier 3 entities and thus have a target number of 7 rather than 8. Potential effects with 7 and 8 again do not upgrade and remain at 8 or 9 again. The Scent of the Divine is a permanent use of the sensitive. The Divine becomes a feature of demigods without taking up a knack slot. Any prior purchase of Scent of the Divine is refunded. Do I have Scent of the Divine? Do not believe so, so that does not apply to me. An Ear for Prayer. In addition to the secondary auditory feedback of Scent of the Divine, Scions hear a low prayer directed at their pantheon. A Scion can occasionally hear the distinctly hear particular heartfelt or desperate prayers. So this is awesome. This allows you to, as a storyteller or story guide, to direct your players with their demigod power, essentially. They are now so powerful they can hear the worship of other people to the pantheon, which is pretty cool. We have a chemical analysis of a demigod's blood reveals that it to be an indeterminate type, highly unstable, and deeply toxic to humans or other mammals. Demigods bleed bright red unless they're actively manifesting omens, in which case their ichor reveals its true bright, shining golden color. Ichor may be used for various derived magical effects, though many religions have a deep taboo against blood magic except in highly ritualized circumstances. It'd be cool to have a cult of people who are basically harvesting the blood of demigods, though I imagine it's very difficult to take a demigod and capture them, because you're basically going up against someone who is at a higher tier than you are. Normal mortals are tier 1. Demigods are tier 3, so this means that we are facing against something that, if you were a normal mortal, you'd be facing against something that's exceptionally more powerful. Updated defensive stunt. Defend. As per the original wording, defend generates successes which an opponent must overcome to inflict an injury. This total is equal to the successes plus 2. Okay, so it increases the difficulty to hit a demigod by 2. Base level to hit a demigod is at 2. You have increased durability, which means you get an additional bruised injury. I do believe I gave myself an additional bruised injury, so I should be at the maximum of, or at least the old maximum of 3 bruised. Yeah, so I have 3 bruised now. Makes me a little bit more chunky, a little bit more difficult to take down. Immortal skills. Oh, divine resonance. Any defense roll made with a pool containing divinity dice automatically gain the benefits of 9 again. Mortal failure cannot be the result of a defense roll. Okay, whatever immortal failure is. Okay. Immortal skills. When describing a defense action in which specialties may be applied, add enhancement as normal. This may also be applied as an optional rule in hero and origin games. Okay. That seems to be a balancing change. If they're saying for you to apply this retroactively to the other game lines, it seems like it's some sort of way to adjust the combat a little bit to be more in the player's favor. Then we got Resonant 3. The weapon has a powerful relationship with the character and her divine power. Once per session, ignore a mortal failure. I guess I should look up what mortal failure is here. It's been repeated a lot. Okay, so it hasn't been introduced in this section. Let's see the next section. Mortal failure. 1, 2. Divinity dice. Rolling a pool containing divinity dice creates catastrophic successes and mortal failures, which are shaped by the rolling a character's purviews. Story guides and players decide which of the purviews is most appropriate at the time of rolling. A story guide may choose to fate bind the character as a result of success or failure. Mortal failures cause the character's divine nature to falter. If the roll fails, any divine dice are not successes. It provokes a mortal failure. Beyond the roll failing, something relevant to the rolling character's purview goes wild and out of control. Okay. So it's kind of like a dramatic failure from Chronicles of Darkness, because that is the purview I have for a lot of this stuff. Legend. A legend is defined by the relationship of your divine parent. Legend trait effects. So epic. Your adventures become a part of your culture's history forever. Your face inspires urban murals, high budget films, and communities hold festivals to commemorate your deeds. I just finished watching The Boys, and now this is giving me some Homelander vibes a little bit. We have the birthrights. I think creatures. Okay, so I did take a birthright as a jackal and a crane. Crane was my spirit guide. Jackal was my animal. Legendary creatures. Sometimes demigods. Okay, building creatures for demigods differ following ways. Divine Fortitude. A demigod creature imposes a complication with a penalty of suffering a counterattack equal to the creature's dot rating to all rolls to attack it or impose supernatural effects on it. Okay, so basically there is a 5 complication on my jackal, which allows it to attack someone if it tries to attack it. That's pretty awesome. That's an extra bit of action economy for me. A demigod's creature only sacrifices 1 die from its rating based on dice pool to add a knack or flair instead of 2. Oh, my computer's still on. That is bad. Different computer. A demigod's creature only sacrifices 1 die from its rating base to add a knack or flair instead of 2. Okay. I didn't really understand that. Like, I didn't realize creatures had knacks or skill stunts. Or flares. Flares, that's it. Was busy cleaning my room. Chandra Magic, don't worry about being a little bit late. My computer was in my room when I was in when I was a person. When I was not married, my computer was definitely in my room. I was a nerd. I am a nerd. I hope you're still around. Always nice seeing Chandra Magic. Of course. Oh, we've got 4 people here. Oh, by the way, while 4 people are here, I am covering Exalted Essence next week. Please don't miss it if you're interested in Exalted. Right now, we're covering Demigod. I found out that my legendary creature is a lot more powerful than it was before. Additionally, legendary creatures incorporating blah 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 hunter. They become Legend of Odin, whichever Odin that might be. A Scion who wishes to turn his creature into a legendary one must first fate bind it. Any role that makes sense for the creature is eligible. Yeah, Exalted Essence. I'm very interested in it. I've heard it's a very good one for people who aren't as familiar with Exalted. It has a good lower barrier to entry than Exalted 3rd Edition, but it's not. If I were to compare it to Exalted, if I were to compare it to Dungeons and Dragons, it's the equivalent of it's equivalent of D&D 4th edition to D&D Essentials, where it kind of was like a proto 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons that they put into 4th edition. I'm not sure if that's where they're going to be going. I have no insider knowledge. Have to put all those caveats up there because I'm not an insider in any way with how Onyx Path runs, but to me it just seems like they found a lot more design improvements they could do, and they're starting to apply it to more and more things. Similarly to Story Path Ultra coming out. Chandra Magic says it's more streamlined. It's not rules light or anything, but it's streamlined, and the rules and roles are easier. And we're not doing Exalted right now, so I will not go on. Yeah, that's fair. I can get caught up in this stuff. If you were watching the Story Path Ultra stuff during Onyx Path at Onyx PathCon this past month or 2 months ago, they did do a Scion Story Path Ultra, which was converting Scion to Story Path Ultra, but it wasn't official or anything. It was basically the people took the Story Path system itself and applied it to Scion. And honestly, it worked pretty good from what I heard. In any case. So we're talking about the Building the Legend. Story Path Ultra looks pretty awesome, and it's not done yet, so it will only get better. Yeah, that's fair. Waiting if they do a Kickstarter. I'm not sure if they'll do a Kickstarter for it. They probably said something in that convention thing. Oh, and speaking of, just to get things out of the way, as far as what we need to talk about, OPP Game Night is going to be the last Friday of August, which is probably going to be the 25th. And then there are still some promotions, I think. Possibly promotions on Drive-Thru RPG and Drive-Thru Fiction. I think the information I might be dealing with is a little bit out of date, so don't quote me on that. There's also Trinity Continuum Aegis is on BackerKit. If I type in a word, the bot should just say, here's the Kickstarter. And additionally, they're doing a Trinity Continuum Aegis live actual play, which I was really excited for when I heard about that, because I believe it's run by the same guy, Simulacra TV. I believe it's that guy. And he ran my Trinity Continuum anima game, and that was pretty fun. Again, I'm not quite sure who it is. I feel bad if it's someone else and I'm talking up differently. Uh, yeah, the ad doesn't tell me. Any case, we're talking about Scion. Trinity Continuum Aegis is also about gods, but it's about Greek gods, more like gods in the time period it was set in, as opposed to Greek gods and the mythological gods in the urban fantasy present. Anyway, so we gave it a mantle, special type of resolution that may only do once the bond's strength reaches 5. Upon resolution, he immediately replenishes all legend, and the creature becomes a legendary one. Limitations. Only creatures with a rating of 2+ can become legendary, and a demigod may only have up to his legend -4 legendary creatures. So I can only have one right now, and it's going to be my jackal, because my god is Anubis, the jackal. For better or worse, legendary creature no longer has the luxury of simply lopping away if the demigod mistreats or abandons it. However, if he does so, the story guide may declare that the creature has taken a new negative fate-binding condition, such as Nemesis or Traitor, and loses its legendary benefits. If that condition resolves in a way that leads the Scion to reconcile with the creature, it regains its legendary status. If not, you lose the creature entirely. That's pretty crazy. You can create your own Nemesis or Traitor animal. I'm not going to mistreat my jackal. I love my jackal. Calling all creatures. The creature counts as an additional calling keyword for purposes of invoking it to increase scale on an action not covered by one of his legendary titles. On actions that rely on the creature's aid. If the creature dies, count its death as a failure deed for the calling with which it is most closely associated with. So this calling the creature is going to be associated with is probably going to be Judge, since that's the one that I'll probably have the highest in. Legendary effects. It gains 1 knack or flare for free without sacrificing any dice from its pool. In addition, a Scion may spend a point of momentum to make any attack or effect target him instead of his creature, whether by flinging himself in the line of fire or using divine magic to redirect it, if they're both present in the same scene. Finally, the demigod can effectively communicate with the creature even without a specific power to do so. Inherited legends. If an incarnate demigod comes into possession of a creature that is legendary for a past bearer of the mantle he's inherited, he's automatically gains the fate binding condition for it, with a strength equal to the previous owner of the animal. That's pretty cool. So it gets better stuff associated with it. Now I need to look around and see if this has any more extra stuff in regards to these creatures. Realms. We have realm knacks. Okay. What about immortal knacks? Okay, so can I give one to my creature here? Legendary creature stuff. Can I give them... I could do some casual miracles with my purviews. That's pretty cool. Getting ahead of myself. Corbin, stop getting ahead of yourself. Okay, it looks like I probably just get them from the Heroes book, so I'm just gonna go and grab that for a second. As I didn't mention it before, but Demigod definitely syncs up with the Hero book a lot more. If you're planning to get Scion Demigod, I think I'm gonna double check, but I think it does mention that you should already own Book 2 Hero or Book 1 Origin. Drive through RPG, look up Demigod. I don't want to speak out of turn. Requires the use of Scion Hero. Good. It's in giant bold letters. You'll need both Hero and Origin, or Demigod will not be able to make any sense, says Chandra Magic. Good to know. So, double checking here, I need to get a knack for my creature. Uh, I can't give it Scent of the Divine because I already have Scent of the Divine. I could just give it an Aura of Greatness, so that it has a +2 enhancement bonus for intimidation or something. The reason I'm saying that is because I'm not sure they really created any knacks for creatures. I'm pretty sure that they don't have anything too crazy about them, so I think I'll just go with that for the moment. Okay, yeah. So I'll just give it the Aura of Greatness, and I'll put that on my original character sheet. Yes, and I'll say Intimidation. Intimidation. Okay. Now that we've covered that, new birthright, a sanctum. Okay, I have a guide though. I still have that 2-dot guide. The guide works as follows. Even a demigod needs guidance. Occasionally, guides for demigods work just as they do for heroes, but a demigod can also invest his birthright to be a guide for someone else. Invest in this birthright to be a guide for someone else. That's cool. When this player acquires this birthright, her character automatically gains a Strength 1 Fate Binding for the mentee character that doesn't regain a legendary point. This bond doesn't count against your maximum. The apprentice role is an obvious choice, but any role can work if you and the story guide think it makes sense. Maybe your character goes out of the way to help her rival despite his resentment in an attempt to win him over, or aids a martyr in hopes that he'll reconsider his death wish. If this removes the character from the game permanently, you may reinvest these guide dots into another birthright. Quid pro quo. Whenever the mentee's role condition is compelled, you gain 1 momentum in addition to the usual effects. If your character suffers harm or significant setbacks in the process of acting on that compulsion, you may also invoke the mentee's role condition once before the end of the session without counting it as a session's 1 allowed Fate Binding invocation. Okay, Heroes and Ex Machina. The demigod can provide divine intervention to her mentee's behalf, just like her own guides can do for her. Once per arc, she may take a simple action and imbue 1 legend to invest a measure of her power in her mentee, allowing that character to access one of her boons, granting them a +1 to 1 type of scale. These effects last for a scene during which the demigod acts in all the ways as though she were the hero. Instead, in return, at the end of the scene, you immediately gain a number of divinity dice equal to this birthright's rating, regain the imbued legend as normal, and regain 1 spent legend point. For the rest of the episode, you may invoke the mentee's role condition once, proceed without it counting as the session's 1 allowed invocation. So now they give us a bunch of examples. Ancestral Mummy. Ancestor Mummy. The mummified dead hold an honored place in Scions of Apu, acting as powerful huakas and providing guidance for the living. Okay. I might upgrade this character's mentor to be the frickin' mummy. But apparently I also get a mentee as part of this. This is an interesting one. Guides. It's like it's the opposite. You don't get a guide, you are the guide. Interesting. Okay. I'll just write that down here on the this character sheet. Guide to, I guess I'll say to a lawyer. Ampu is the judge, so I'll be a guide to a lawyer. I'll give some divine guidance to them. And then I might upgrade that once I spend the 200 XP that the creators of this game gave me. Oh, by the way, I didn't do this earlier. I should probably have. Developer notes. We've got a bunch of different people here. I don't see. I don't see the developer on here. Maybe they were in Origin or Hero. I'll go down here. Okay, I don't see them on here. That's fine. One of the people I talked to gave me the right to do this. I will say that later. Okay. Okay, so we've got all that stuff down. We have the new birthright, the Sanctum. Acquiring a sanctum it's a place her legend inhabits. It starts off as a physical place within the world, and you can expand it to encompass terra incognita and even metaphorical representations of her mantle. As her sanctum grows, a demigod may be able to roam the world and other worlds at whim or be there in spirit. It's a ritual process. If the Scion creates a new one for herself, she must sanctify the physical location as a complex action requiring one milestone at Sanctum 1 with an interval of 1 hour and a difficulty of 1. Blah, do do do. Gives you some +1 bonus. Gives you some bonuses for using it. When the player acquires this birthright, you gain +1 strength fate binding to the physical location in the world, but doesn't regain a legend point. Okay. Dominion. You reduce the cost of all characters' domain stunts within the sanctum by 1. You can swap them out as reflexive actions once per turn. Supplication once per session whenever a lower tier character offers an appropriate sacrifice. Or prayer, you receive the benefits as if they had performed the sacrifice to her pantheon and herself, no matter where she is at the time. Likewise, if she's inside her sanctum and performed such a sacrifice or prayer elsewhere, she knows and may witness it from afar. Okay. You may spend a full scene inside your sanctum and you heal the most severe injury and regain a point of legend. You may teleport directly between 2 locations that count as part of your sanctum. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Oh, and it has little building things that give you extra stuff. Include 1 Pantheon appropriate strange place or touchstone in the sanctum. You can at the first dot it's a physical location within the world. Another dot, you can increase the number of physically worldly locations that count as the sanctum. You can connect the sanctum to an axis mundi appropriate to your pantheon. It can be a curse as well as a blessing, but some Scions value the ease of access of opening their sanctum to more worshippers over security and privacy. Okay, so people are allowed to come in. A location. Extend your character's sanctum from its physical location into a mid-realm that counts as her physical personal god's realm. Ooh. The sanctum's physical location contain a gate that you may pass through without a key. Determine the key for others based on the character's purview. Man, you guys can do crazy things in this game. And now we're getting to the 4th and 5th dots ones, which are probably going to be the most potent. From its physical location into otherworld that counts as her personal god realm. Counts as the stuff above. has a more convoluted way of getting there. Extend your character's sanctum to count a specific type of situation or event. So if it's like a murder or something like that, I could just jump right into a murder. That's crazy. What else we got here? Realms. You deal with a great time in one terra incognita or another. They find the location's fate begins to wind into their own. So it looks like this is a player chooses a fate binding to a terra incognita at a locational fate binding, and when she does, she gains access to specific benefits depending on the location. Loads Touchstone. Embodies an emotional event for the Scion, flooding her with memories of good or ill. Invoking it gives the Scion strength in the face of adversity. You can take an action within the realm as a feat of scale without invoking the legendary title. Lodestone. Okay, so these are additional benefits from here. I'm not going to go into all of them because this seems really complicated but really powerful. Okay. So, chasing the divinity. Look at that picture there. So beautiful. And we will go to down here. This is additional boons, immortal necks. Is there a thing that tells me the cost of purchasing an immortal neck? No. Doesn't look like it. It looks like doesn't look like I have anything too crazy here. There's an entire section that's just the underworlds. That's insane. Uh Table of contents is always good to look through if you're worried that you're missing something. Ready-made characters, realm birthrights, realm knacks, benefits, divinity, ready-made characters, fate binding, immortal knacks. Okay, let's look at hero. Let's look at the character creation section and specifically for experience. A knack is 10 experience. A birthright is 5 experience. I should probably have a note here of how much of this I'm going to be using. Let's just make a text box in this thing here. You guys aren't going to see this, but I can increase my attributes, I can increase my skills. If I increase 10 attributes, that's already 100 XP. I will, however, increase, let's say 10 skills. So I'm going to spend 50 on skills. I'm going to spend 20 on attributes. So that's just going to be 2. That's going to be 5 skills. Oh no, 10 skills. And then let's say a knack is 10. So we'll do 5 knacks, that's 50. Specialties. I don't need specialties. A favored approach. I already got that. Birthrights. Add 1 dot to an existing or new birthright. So if I go to my character sheet here, I only have 5 dots in birthright. Oh, calling. How do I increase calling? Or can I not increase calling? Excuse me. How do you increase calling? Anyone know? System. Legend. Raising legend. Upon a new... Okay, upon gaining a legend dot, the Scion may rearrange which boons she permanently knows. So this is completing a goal gets you a legend dot. What about raising a calling? Someone yell, "Damn it, Chandra Magic! I was hoping you'd know." Callings. When buying Legend 3, 5, or okay, at 2, 4, and 6 Legend, you gain an extra dot of calling, which can be applied to any of your character's 3 chosen callings, as long as it doesn't take that calling over 5 dots. So at 2 and 4, I get 2 dots. So I am going to increase my warrior by 1 and my sage by 1. So I'm at 4 dots of judge and 2 dots at warrior. I might have said that wrong earlier, but I'm sorry. I can reassign my calling dots as long as I have 1 dot per calling. They're associated with 3 fate binding rolls. Okay. So that's how I got my extra callings. Extra calling dots, rather. So I'm at 4 judge, 2 warrior, 1 sage. You guys are probably not seeing that because this character sheet is only 1 page, but boom. You might see it now. Yeah, there you go. So we did that. I still have to figure out XP. I could get additional birthright stuff, so I'm going to increase my birthright to 4 so I get a mummy. So that's only going to be 2, so birthright costs 5 experience, so that's going to be 10 experience. So that's 2 extra dots. That's going to put my birthright. Where are you, birthright? Crane is at 5. Or sorry, 4. And it's no longer the crane, it is now the mummy. And I'm a guide to a lawyer. Legendary title. I'll figure that out at some point. Probably the judge of the Unforgiven or something like that. Thank you all for sticking around for me as I, a beginner, go through the beginner's guide of making a character here. What else we got? They said 200. You can grow to increase them to Legend 5. You get a Demigod. Okay. 2 birthrights. I guess I could get more knacks because it's always good to have a little bit more knacks. I'm currently at 13. You know what? Let's bump up the attributes to 50 so I get 5 attributes. And let's bump up the knacks to 90. And that's going to put me at 9 knacks. I might not have time for finishing up the knacks on this, but there are some pretty good immortal knacks from what I am told. And I did say I was increasing my judge to 4. If I increase my callings, does that give me more stuff? Each calling is associated with a Legend 5, at Legend 3. Each calling is choice next. You gain 1 active dot per dot. Okay, 1 active dot per dot of calling. So they can buy additional knacks, but they only have so many knacks active as they do calling dots. Okay, makes sense. So we're getting 9 new callings. Uh, we can only have 5 active, I think, or 4 active. So we're looking at the judge here. Inescapable judgment, imbue for scale when punishing the guilty on a massive scope. Okay. So I'm guessing this increases my scale from 3 to 4. Divine mercy. When someone has unfairly punished or given an excessive sentence, you may imbue for scale to release them. This may involve sundering chains, burning a slave labor camp to the ground, or pulling someone out of torment of the afterlife. Of any boons or knacks that make that distinction. Boons. I need to look at the boons. Maybe I should be looking at boons. Is it a boondoggle? Boons? How many boons do you get? Boons. A boon. Assign boons as described in step 8. Choose 2 boons from your character's purview, whether innate or granted by birthrights. So you have 2 boons. How do you get more? Okay. Temporarily a boon. Oh, that might have been it. Upon gaining a new legend dot, the Scion may rearrange boons that she knows. Okay, that doesn't give me any additional boons. Relics grant the ability to purchase boons in their associated purview and allow Scion to perform marvels through the motif of a particular relic. Okay, so if I purchase a relic, I can gain more boons. Okay. That makes sense. Boons stem from the purview facets of the world that gods embody and control. Immortal Trickster. Okay. Let's try and get some of these immortal knacks out here. So we were in Judge. Leva. Sage. Judge. Oathbinder. You can sanctify oaths in force of your divinity. Your character of a lower tier attempting to break such an oath cannot do so. Others must make a clash of wills. Oathbinder is a good one. It makes people stuck to doing stuff with me. Keep to the plan. I also do like the divine mercy of being able to just save people from being thrown into the afterlife. We also need to look at here the good and bad places. Whenever you or your bandmates take the life of any lower P, you may declare to the underworld which shade is sent. Beings of equal or greater tier require a clash of wills. The shade must still undergo necessary afterlife trials, and the ruler of the realm has final say over the soul's placement. But they will take your judgment into account. Oh God! I can decide where people go. The good and bad place. I'm taking that. Why not? Let's look at Warrior for a second, because I feel like I'm going through a lot of the Judge ones. Divine Duel. I can imbue for scale to fight a single opponent in one-on-one combat. Deterrence Policy. I imbue for scale to intimidate any opponent into backing down. Punch the Problem. You may substitute dice rolls for their favorite attack roll among any... Okay, so it basically allows you to punch stuff to make it be resolved. Punching a jukebox to play your lover's favorite song. You were able to solve non-violent problems with violence. Good fight. Legendary friendships are forged in the heat of battle. Once per arc, if you engage in one-on-one battles where you take at least 2 injury conditions, you may choose to fate bind your opponent as a boon companion. Okay. Size them up. This isn't your first rodeo. Once per session, you may look at a single antagonist and immediately know their qualities, flares, and what abilities constitute their pools. I can't take some of these more specific ones. That's fine. Maybe Judge has an Onpu. Netjer. I think Netjer is the one that I'm part of. The heart is the record of all deeds, good or ill. By simply looking at the being of a lower tier, you see their beating heart. You being and their most recent severe or unjust act. Okay, I'm gonna take that. Read the ib. One thing to note about these knacks that you're getting is that they are not dice rolls. they just happen. You can literally just kill someone probably with some of these. Let's see here. Size them up. Good fight. Deterrence policy. Punch the problem. Okay, so none of these are just kill someone outright. I don't think there is a murder. Hunter. Trophy room. Extinction. You may declare an organized group of foes as your quarry for purposes of relevant knacks. If you have the knack always there and the targets are a lower tier, you immediately jump to the scene of catching the last one. Oh, God. Which one's always there? Always there. Anyone of lower tier cannot escape you. You find them and you can always track them down no matter how far they go. Okay. I did have Sage as one, so I should probably take a Sage Immortal Knack. False. Imbue the scale that when stamping out a widespread falsehood, misconception, or massive illusion. Man, I could destroy any. Chandra Magic. Yeah, demigod knacks are wild and powerful, but influencing the world can come back to kick you in the no-no place. I know your bane. The wielding knowledge like a weapon. Once per session, this knowledge can give you a lead to begin a complex investigation to find a creature's supernatural bane. This can be used against a specific opponent, a rare plant to poison satyrs, a unique sword that burns away an Oni's flesh. Wonder if you could use that against a god. It would definitely provoke a clash of wills, I feel. I'll take I Know Your Bane. I might as well increase those stats that I said I would. I said I was going to take 10 skill dots. So I'm going to increase my academics and firearms, possibly. So that gives me 2. That gives me I've done 4. I've done 5 with firearms. I've done 7 with integrity. I've done 8 with subterfuge. I have 2 more, and I'm going to put 2 dots into close combat. And I'll leave it at that for the moment. Attributes, I have 5 dots of attributes I can put in. Increase cunning by 1, increase intelligence by 1, increase manipulation by 1, and then I have 2 dots left, which means I will increase my presence to 4. There we go. Those are my attributes, those are my skills. I've done the knacks, I've done the birthrights. I have some knacks left. We're at 5-minute mark left. Let's look at see if there are any generic immortal knacks. I don't think there are in this book. No. Let's see. What other stuff can we do? As a sage, as a judge. If you declare someone guilty of a transgression, you may proclaim a single ally as the executioner of their punishment. Once per session, you may imbue the scale to modify a single roll made by the executioner to punish the transgressor. Oh, man. That's a good one. Name the executioner. Take it or leave it. Normally, you would not be getting this many immortal necks. Normally, I would say... So we did 6. Normally, you probably get 3 from, like, down here. Toss in... Oh, there are more immortal ones here. Okay, so these just add on. So I think we did lie detector and objection and quick study. Terror of the guilty. They flee in a panic. Pain of dishonesty. Spend momentum, and anyone who lies directly to you suffers 1 damage. Automatically alerting you to the lie, though it does not automatically reveal the truth. You also know the severity of the lie, therefore you could choose not to harm someone who's just preserving someone's feelings as opposed to lying to obstruct a criminal justice. I like pain of dishonesty. That's good, Mac. Pain of dishonesty. Okay, this is just a fun character. Let's just put in another sage one. Sage. A consult. Even if you don't know the answer, you know someone who does. Lore Master. You immediately know the legendary titles of anyone you meet. You can also use momentum to use your Sage Calling as an enhancement to any social roll against them that invokes one of these titles. If they're disguised in any way, it's a Clash of Wills. I'll take a Lore Master. Lore Master's fine. And you know what? To round it out, because we're finishing it up here, I will take a warrior one. And it will be Divine Duel, which gives me bonuses for one-on-one fighting. And to show off a domain boon, let's see, a general domain boon. Gift of Power. Apply to any path, pantheon, or knack skill roll. Grant 1 target within your perceptions of the same tier or lower who does not share a purview with you the benefits of your innate abilities. This Gift of Power lasts until the end of scene. There's some additional purviews. Fire. Darkness. Darkness is one of my purviews. And Death. Death. Casual miracles. Demigods with the death purview might perform any of the following casual miracles. Know the moment a person or animal has died in the local area. Grant a suffering person a peaceful and painless death. Know which character is fated to die next. Extend a dying person or animal's life by your legend and days. Kill anything trivial instantly. Protect the vulnerable from untimely death. Catastrophic failure successes. Man, these are pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy things. Do I get these casual miracles if I'm in my domain? Yeah, I guess these are stunts. Demigods don't struggle to perform miracles after they have achieved a domain boon. With casual effort, a demigod manipulates the inherent magic of the world with an ease that reflects the divine being she might become. Characters can perform any minor or cosmetic miracle relevant to her purviews without needing to roll or imbue legend, and may do so without limiting themselves to a once per session, per scene nature of marvels. They draw attention from onlookers. Where appropriate, a demigod performing the little miracles may subject to immediate fate binding. Okay, so I should have taken a birthright and domain, because it gives me access to Font of Miracles and Divinity Dice. Anyway, they have minor effects. They do not need stats, calls for a roll, or concrete efforts. This is basically being an exalted going around, like, giving, like, minor miracles to people. I guess it's being a demigod at this point. I wish I had covered this a little bit more, but it's sadly 6:02. If you want to check out what domain miracles you can probably throw around, for instance, beauty, you can draw the eye of everything in the field, immediately identify the most desirable person or thing in the room, create mood lighting of the divine quality, instantly highlight ideal features of a target. You can instantly change a willing target's style and grooming. You automatically know someone's aesthetic and taste at a glance. Like, you could basically just be like a fairy godmother, snap your fingers, or what have you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to put us into the outro and see if there's anyone we can raid. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good one.